because he's a teetotaler, but he takes it very, very seriously. And in every instance, he actually takes, I am sure there are so many public officials who used to take alcohol before in previous governments, and they are struggling to survive because they are now serving in government. Thanks to the president's very strict. Let me just say that we sometimes go for outing, retreats and so forth, and the president is involved, or a foreign trip. And because the president is there, everybody is hiding when they are trying to take a glass or two. Anyway, I should not be saying this. At the onset, may I take this opportunity to congratulate, when I say this, I remember what I said about Busa in Kitale, and I see how it's trending. And I don't take Busa, I need to emphasize that. At the onset, may I take this opportunity to congratulate the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, that is NACADA, and partners for the excellent work for preparing this document through a multi-sectoral approach, bringing on board all stakeholders, and in this case, critical stakeholders. Special appreciation to the Institute of Legislative Affairs. I'm told nowadays it's international, and vital for resourcing the project. Mr. Chair, I was a founding member of Institute of Legislative Affairs. So myself, I see Rachel for the first time in almost 20 years. He's here. Kiraku is here. And Mariro was there with the PS defense. And so I think I ran away very fast. Yeah. I think it's something we started somewhere in Ufungamano. And I thought we had just left campus, members of the Christian Union, under focus. Kiraku was a very serious person those days in focus. I'm not saying it's not serious now. And Rachel had just left campus. And one of the best documents they participated in providing is the tobacco control. That was big, that was huge those days. Now it has grown, it's a very big tree. I'm told it's international. I suspect because Rachel went international, so it became international. And so together with Vital and others, I really want to appreciate you. And thank you very much for growing this institution to a stage where it has become provided a shade for others and did this wonderful job together with other stakeholders, civil society, including Vital. Indeed, the role of stakeholders in the fight against the alcohol and drug abuse is critical. This is not a one-man show, nor a one-institution job. It needs all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, our job at the Ministry of Interior and National Administration is to maintain, let me say this, before I say this, first of all, I'm taking credit for work that was done largely by the Deputy President. Yeah, so mine was to come and push from where he left when he was the Cabinet Secretary here. So whereas I have been appreciated, it is on behalf of government. He always jokes, because I was also in another ministry and I see some of my projects when they are launched. So the Deputy President always jokes with me that traditionally, the person, if you are a herder, the guy who was in the field when the cow gave birth is the one who takes credit. And since all of us work for government and work for His Excellency the President, it's easier to say all credit goes to his government. Then the rest of us rotate around so that when I see something in roads that has succeeded and I did a lot of work, I must say it was not mine, it's for the government, for the president. So our job at the Ministry of Interior and National Administration is to maintain law and order, ensuring national security and fostering a peaceful environment for all Kenyans and our visitors. Alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse directly undermine our core mandate. As the Cabinet Secretary responsible for internal security, I affirm that our ministry will play a central and unwavering role in implementation of this policy. Over the last few months, I have engaged the local leaders, security agencies, and members of the public in consultative forums dubbed Jukwaa la Usalama across the length and the breadth of our nation. In each of the 22 counties so far visited, alcohol and drug abuse were identified as a major problem, not just in terms of lives, but also as a driver, one of the drivers in the high rate of crime in various parts of our country. We must do everything to combat this menace. Our focus, therefore, will be multi-pronged and decisive. First, on the law enforcement and supply reduction, illicit trafficking, manufacturing and sale of drugs and unregulated alcohol will be met with the full force of the law. This policy empowers us to intensify our operations against the drug cartels, illicit brewers, and peddlers who prey on the vulnerability of our people, especially our young children. The National Police Service, in close collaboration with specialized units and intelligence agencies, will enhance surveillance, dismantle supply networks, and ensure that those who profit from this menace are brought to justice. We will streamline interagency coordination, making it easy to share intelligence and conduct joint operations across all relevant government departments. There will be no safe haven for criminals engaged in this destructive act. And when I say this, it sounds like a cliche because, this has been said by governments. But the experience we got from the Jukwaa la Usalama is such that we have decided that instead of the lofty statements and conferences and workshops and big officers at the national level, we take the problem to the lowest unit possible. And I have told the chiefs and the OCSs that wherever there is no alcohol or drugs that are sold in Kenya without the support and the knowledge of the chief and the OCS. This rest of the stories about the IG, the minister, the CEO, and so forth, it ends at the very lowest unit, the chief and the OCS. And when I say that, the chiefs also said, it is true that we try to do some enforcement work, but if you don't get the support of the OCS, there's nowhere you can go. So finally, it's actually us within the National Police Service. Enforcement is the most important thing at the lowest unit. And I'm happy that in many of the places we have visited, when we went to Coast, when we went to Northeastern, when we went to North Rift, there has been a renewed passion among the chiefs and the OCSs in different parts of the country who are carrying out serious enforcement. Only yesterday, the day before yesterday, a chief from Kerio Valley Sub-County in Mokora location, and the chiefs and the police officers went uprooting cannabis sativa that is planted along Kerio Valley, along River Kerio, because that area had been controlled by bandits for a long period of time. So what they used to do is to control the place and then plant cannabis sativa. And you cannot imagine, trucks, the amount of bang that was uprooted can fit into a number of lorries, planted, growing, very beautiful. Yeah, and I cannot believe that it was planted for purpose of only local consumption. And I have asked the relevant institutions to work on it. There must be persons who are buying and supplying it in urban areas like Kapsawar, Iten, Eldoret, Kapsabet. So the notion that we always have that the drugs that we have are transited from other countries, especially cannabis sativa, may actually be debunked if we look at these areas where insecurity is very high. Inside there, they are planting these, and I dare say that it includes my ward in Embobut, because of those insecurity areas, again, they plant those, and I saw my chief also again from Embobut with the police officers trying to uproot the same plants. And, if you want to know that they take it is extremely important to these criminals, As soon as the chief did that in Mokoro location, they went to our farm and slashed all our mangoes that she had planted over a long period of time. And I've told the chief to continue. We will see how to support her, to compensate the suffering they are going through. But we must continue this exercise. And we'll only achieve it if the lowest unit is motivated and ready to do the job, and they receive the highest support from the national level. Sadly, we also have collaboration from the police officer, from some chiefs, from government officials. And that was the case in Kitale. When we went to Kitale 2 days ago, we established that there is a lot of incestuous relationship between government officials and these drug cartels. So we have to work. We are going to sack people. We have started sacking them, and they will go to court. Any chief, any police officer, any OCS whose jurisdiction is a drug haven will be dealt with according to the law. They will not be transferred. They will be removed from service. Those who are committing these acts will also be prosecuted accordingly. Therefore, I'm very happy with this renewed energy. Our plan is to ensure that there is enhanced intelligence-led enforcement that is targeting particular areas. And we have also established, thanks to Jukwaa la Usalama, that drugs are more prevalent around colleges and universities. So areas that have, we have colleges and universities will now be our areas of focus, and we must work together to make sure that we deal with towns like, as I said, towns like all the county headquarters. If you go to Kitale, for example, they may not have a university, but they have Kitale Polytechnic with 16,000 students, and then other colleges around there. Eldoret is an area of new target because of the enhanced number of students there. Kisumu, of course, Nairobi, Mombasa, and other towns they are targeted, especially because young people around there. And this is something we must do together for the sake of our children and for the sake of our future. Secondly, on community engagement and administration, our administrative structures are the bedrock of our government. Our national government administration officers work closely with the people and understand the local dynamics of substance abuse. I'm happy to know that the policy reinforces their role in public awareness campaigns, community-based prevention initiatives, and identification of at-risk individuals and areas. We will empower our administrators with the necessary training and resources to lead community dialogue, establish local multisectoral committees, and engage stakeholders in implementation of various interventions in the community. In fact, we will be rewarding administrators who do a good job and officers, either with promotions or state recognition, because this is a very important exercise that must be done across the country. Thirdly, on border security and control, Kenya's strategic geographical location makes us vulnerable to the transit of illicit drugs. Our ministry will strengthen border controls, enhance surveillance of our ports of entry, and invest in advanced detection technologies to intercept drugs and precursor chemicals. We will continue to collaborate with regional and international partners to combat transnational organized crime networks involved in drug trafficking, and recognizing that this is a global fight that requires global solidarity. You know that in the operations that we are doing in Marsabit, we have netted a lot of drugs, heroin, cocaine, cannabis sativa, and, of course, human trafficking. The operation Malisa Walivo also has unearthed some of these organized crime networks. Our vulnerability is as a result of our porous border, and also because of the challenges that neighbors are facing both in South Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, and even parts of Uganda makes it very difficult for us to deal with this issue. In fact, I was surprised that Kitale is the leading county in terms of presence of these adulterated alcohol and drugs. as a result of our proximity to the border and controlled border. And therefore, we want to enhance this control of our borders. External threats, the external threats that we face as a nation includes this issue of drug trafficking. Fourthly, on rehabilitation and reintegration support, while our primary focus is prevention and enforcement, we will also recognize the profound need for rehabilitation and reintegration. The ministry will continue to support efforts to ensure that individuals struggling with addiction are not only rehabilitated, but are integrated back to society as productive citizens. Our correctional facilities will play a role in rehabilitation programs for those within the justice system. And to support this rehabilitation program and also the fight against this menace, I think we need, I will be engaging the Asset Recovery Agency to see how best we can also make it more punitive, first of all, for those who are engaged in these acts, especially because they get very, very lenient fines. So maybe the best way is to take away the lorry, the car, the equipment, you know, their businesses, their assets that they are built over time. And it's important for asset recovery to appreciate that the law on the proceeds of crimes and anti-money laundering law is not only focusing on corruption. It also focuses on all crimes, all proceeds of all crimes, properly defined in the same law. And we'll be engaging the Asset Recovery Agency to see how best this can be done and make it more punitive. Of course, in some cases, even when we have arrested some of these drug traffickers along Isiolo Road, some of them leave the vehicles and run away. But it's important to target the big men and women within the country. I've realized from the Jukwaa la Usalama and the OCS is telling us that the many calls, you see these political leaders who come to us and say, oh, the certain OCS is not doing a good job. OCS and so is fighting me. OCS so and so is not supporting government. We only discover later that it has nothing to do with government. These are people who are selling adulterated alcohol. They are supplying these dangerous cheap sachets. And so when the police officers take very serious stand, they camouflage and come back either as government supporters or as people who are interested in